Ladies and gentlemen, drivers, gig workers, and everyone in between, welcome to a very special edition of Legal Rideshare TV. I'm your host, Jared Hoffa. Now, we're doing something a little different today. We're going to dig right into what Legal Rideshare does, how we help, how we can help you, how you make money, and of course, we're going to answer the age-old question. Are we influencers? And of course, to help me answer that question is, of course, Legal Rideshare co-founder and lead attorney, Bryant Greening. Bryant, welcome to our show. Really, welcome.
Thanks, Jared. It's a real pleasure to be here. I like talking to our audience.
Yeah, we're making it playful today, but I think it's really important to understand that we got a lot of information here, but we want to get it out. And before we begin, though, I do want to announce, of course, that we are doing $100 in gas giveaways. So all you got to do is email us at help@legalrideshare.com. First come, first serve. We'll give out, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 gas cards to help you along your way. So we'll be having that notice up the entire time. It's just free money. So we're trying to help you out as much as we can. Bryant, I want to just dive right in. I got a lot of questions. I got a lot of responses from drivers that I've talked to. So let's get right into it. So first off, we've asked this 100 times, but what is Legal Rideshare?
Sure. So Legal Rideshare is the first law firm in the United States that's entirely dedicated to Uber, Lyft, and gig-related accident and injury claims. So that's a lot of jargon there. What does that mean? If gig workers get involved in car crashes, if they slip and fall on the job, if a dog bites them during a delivery, and they have injuries that require medical treatment, we can help.
Awesome. And so when did you start Legal Rideshare?
So it started at the end of 2016. We've been around for a long time now, and we really rose with the gig companies. So as Uber and Lyft were gaining their footing, so were we. And being around during that entire time has really allowed us to see what the gig companies are doing, how they're trying to get out of providing certain benefits and protections to drivers, and how we can best combat them and represent people who need us.
I think a lot of drivers also don't know you drove for a short time for Lyft to understand the needs. I think you're sometimes a little bit too modest and not announcing, look, I was in your shoes. I think that's really cool. And you learned some things from that, I'm assuming, by being a driver.
I did. And just to correct the record, it was Uber.
Oh, Uber. Sorry, Uber.
But yeah, we had all these clients that we were representing, obviously, and they, all these claims come in. I can't work for X, Y, and Z reason. My neck hurts, and I'm struggling because I can't help the passengers with their luggage anymore, or on the bumpy roads in Chicago, it's jarring. And certainly I could understand what they were saying. I heard their words, but I wanted to get behind the wheel and really put myself in our client's position so that I could best advocate for them when we were making those claims. So, for a period of time, I was picking up passengers, cruising around the city. And let me tell you, the job is much more difficult than I think people realize when they're not sitting behind that wheel.
Yeah, exactly. And you're very active in the community. We both are. We talk to drivers all the time, especially online. You'll hear from both of us. So if you have a question online, send us an email. It's going to be typically one of us responding to you. And that's actually going to be my next question as to why you started it. But clearly, you've answered that. I think it's time. This is the moment everyone's been waiting for. Are you an ambulance chaser, Attorney Bryant Greening?
Let me answer with an emphatic no.
That's it. You heard it. You heard it, everybody. Not an ambulance chaser.
So let me just kind of break down the difference between the connotation of the ambulance chaser and what we're doing. We hear from people all the time who say, hey, I got in an accident. I got a call from like 30 plaintiff personal injury attorneys. People are leaving me voicemails, sending me text messages, trying to get me to come to them. That is an ambulance chaser. That is somebody who hears that you're in a crash, is following the police blotter, and says, I'm going to go get that client. Alternatively, we are here as a resource for you. I am waiting to hear from a driver who needs our help. who understands that, hey, I'm involved in a situation in which I've got medical bills, I've got lost wages, I am unable to keep a roof over my head or food on the table right now for my family because of this crash. Legal Rideshare, can you help me? So when I get that phone call, we jump into action. We are a resource for the community, and we strive to continue to provide that service whenever we're called upon.
Yeah, and that's super vital and very important. I think a lot of drivers have learned, and if you haven't, we are a resource. We are also jumping into the communities. We are trying to answer questions, which kind of leads me to my next question. And we get asked this a lot: is how much is it, how much does it cost to talk to you specifically? What does that cost?
$0.
Yep.
It costs nothing to talk to me. Our consultations are always free. So if you're involved in a car accident or, like I said, get injured in some other way on the job, call us, ask to talk to me, and I will literally answer the phone and talk with you about your options. I strive to provide information above all. Sometimes drivers can handle these situations themselves. They just need to be pointed in the right direction. And I'm happy to provide that guidance. Sometimes drivers do need legal assistance, legal representation. And if that's the case, then we're going to work together to resolve your issue for you in a way that most benefits you, which means the most dollars in your pocket, the most reimbursement for your losses.
And another question we get asked a lot is, do we help delivery drivers? Obviously, I know the answer to that, but I think it's important that you say it.
Yeah, absolutely. We do. If you are involved in the gig economy, whether as a rideshare driver, a delivery worker, or anything else, we can assist. Our experience in this world is with the gig companies, with the gig companies' insurance policies, in navigating these claims to know which stones need to be unturned or turned over, and which policies are going to provide coverage to you. So regardless of if it's Uber or Uber Eats or Grubhub or whatever, you come to us and we can help.
Great, and I just actually took this question recently. I think sometimes drivers, I think they feel concerned or scared that we won't help out if the driver is not online. They're like, yes, I'm an Uber driver, but I wasn't online at that exact moment. Again, want to hear your yes or no thoughts on this.
Yeah, so we are a resource for the driver community, and that means even when you're not on the clock. So if you are a gig worker, a rideshare driver, and you're involved in an accident, give us a call. We want to be your first call so that we can point you in the right direction and really explain how to maximize what you're entitled to.
Yeah, which is great. And we, as I know, of course, we take cases all over the country. I think that's very important. That yes, we are based in Chicago. We started in Chicago, but we take cases all over the country. And Brian, I know that you have connections to other law firms outside of Illinois if it's something we can handle, correct?
That's exactly right. So we are able to connect drivers with law firms nationwide if it comes to that. A lot of the time we will be able to assist the driver with whatever their issue is. However, if you need local counsel, I'm going to be able to put you in touch with them.
Yeah, which is awesome. And I think this is important. We've thrown this out on social a bunch of times, but let's, money talks, right? I mean, this is the reason we're here. We're trying to get drivers loss compensation and payments. And the main question is, have you won cases?
We have. We have put millions of dollars into drivers' pockets. Through our work, we have been able to ensure that drivers don't have debt for medical bills, recover their lost wages, recover for pain and suffering, recover for disability. All of those things add up. And in each case, there are thousands, if not millions of dollars to be had. And that's what we're fighting for you.
Got it. And again, I'm going to just quickly do a little quick intermission here. If you're just tuning in now, we are doing $100 in gas card giveaways. Make sure you email us, help@legalrideshare.com to enter. First come, first serve. We're doing $100 this time. Just email us, let us know you watched, and we'll send it your way. Now, I'm going to play a little game here. I'm going to pretend I'm an injured Uber or Lyft driver. So I call you up. I go, hey, listen, I just got into an accident. I'm injured. I went to the hospital. What do I do? How do I take it from here?
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you called. Um, I think that it is important to start the claim right away because evidence doesn't get better over time. Witnesses tend to disappear. And most importantly, the direction of your treatment and your rehabilitation directly affect your case. So we want to get started immediately so that we can steer you in the right direction to maximize what you're entitled to. If I get that phone call from you, I'm going to say, okay, we need to start gathering information. We'll get the police report. We'll talk to the witnesses. We'll request any video that's available. And that'll be the basis for the liability part of your case, which is who caused the accident. The next part of it is going to be connecting you with the treatment that you need. You get discharged from the hospital. They've probably told you to follow up with a primary care doctor. You can find that primary care doctor yourself, or we have a network who can help.
Which is awesome. And yeah, and that's, again, I think the first thing you said is the most important. I'm glad you called. And I tell drivers this all the time. They stop in my office, they talk to me online, on the phone. Even if you're unsure, I think it's so important that you just reach out if you had an accident. If it's minor or not, if you feel some pain, injury, we always say just at least talk to us, at least call us. And then Brian, you'll tell them, look, we can't handle it. You can do it yourself, or you'll say, hey, look, this is the situation.
Yeah, and I just want to add on to that. So many drivers find themselves in bad situations because they wait too long to get a consultation. Injury claims start immediately after a crash. And if you fail to act immediately after a crash, you're going to find yourself hurting your claim. We've got to make sure that the documents are all lined up, that the medical treatment is all lined up. And if you wait a week or 2 or 3 or more to call me, then there's holes that minimize your available recovery.
Which actually leads me on to the next thing I want to discuss. Now, I have it in my hand here, and you can see on screen the common myths. Now, these are messages I've received online or phone call conversations. These are things that some drivers have said. I'd like you to debunk them and let me know if this is fact, if it's fiction, what the answer is. So let's start with the first one here. And I did just see this as a response to something we posted. They said, look, I was in an accident, but I'm going to wait to see what the insurance company says before I reach out to you.
That is really one of the worst things that you can do. The insurance company, in terms of an injury claim, is almost always going to lowball you. Attorneys have the ability to communicate with insurance companies and their attorneys and use the right arguments and right lingo, for lack of a better word, to maximize your recovery. A lot of times when drivers attempt to do their settlements on their own, you might get the initial medical treatment covered. They might send that to you. However, they're not going to give you anything substantial for pain and suffering. They're not really going to consider your lost wages, and they're going to nickel and dime you any way that they can. Bringing an attorney on right away gives your claim credibility and allows you to build the foundation necessary to get the end result that you want.
Got it. Okay, we'll head right to the second one, which I think both of us have heard multiple times. I'm injured but can't afford to go to the doctor.
So what's really helpful about using LegalRideshare in our service is that we have contacts in the medical community who will see patients who don't have insurance or can't pay out of pocket for the treatment. Instead, they'll work to get you better, and they'll anticipate that they're going to get paid at the end of the claim from the settlement. They do this because they trust that LegalRideshare is going to get a good result. So the cost of medical treatment really is a non-issue. The most important thing is that you get the treatment that you need to further your recovery and to substantiate your injury claim.
And of course, my favorite one so far, and the reason we're doing this video the way that we're doing it, and I have seen this, you're the same as Uber. You're just going to take my money and screw me over.
How dumb would we be to screw you over?
Right?
You are clients. You're the reason why we're here. And frankly, you're the reason why we've grown as much as we have. So I am very aware of how Uber and Lyft and gig workers communicate, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's through WhatsApp. I know that there's all different sorts of ways that drivers are connected. And if we screw over one driver, I know the rest of them are going to hear about it, which obviously does us no good.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've said to drivers who say this. I understand that they're bitter. I understand they've gone through a lot. But there's no way we would be around for 7 years if we were just screwing everyone over. We would have a ton of bad Google reviews. We'd be dead.
Yeah, and I also say that our track record really speaks for itself. We've been a part of the driver community. We have developed sick day programs during COVID when drivers were off work, which was just putting money into drivers' pockets. We've gone to the courts to fight for drivers on various issues at no charge or no fee that we were bringing in. This is our livelihood, and we are part of the community.
Yeah, exactly. I think you said it perfectly. Now, I have just seen this recently. Someone said, if I file a claim, then Uber will never let me drive ever again. So, good luck if you go for the law firm, you're done driving forever for Uber. Is that true?
It is not true. The companies, in my experience, almost never deactivate drivers based on auto accident claims. Like, unless you've been in 10 different accidents and you're just not a safe driver, bringing one claim is not going to affect your ability to access the app. What we've seen is our involvement actually ensures protection in a lot of ways for you. And what I mean by that is we can help you get your vehicle repaired through the insurance claims process. After a crash, you probably will be temporarily removed from the platform because they need to make sure that your car is safe to drive. We're going to help speed along the property damage aspect of this to ensure that your car gets fixed, gets inspected by the rideshare company, and gets approved to be back on the road. So to be quick and blunt, injury claims and accident claims have no effect on your continued access to the rideshare apps.
Which is great to hear. I do believe a lot of drivers, even ones who aren't commenting or talking to us, I do think that's a big fear, that they think, oh, if I get a lawyer, then I'm going to be blacklisted from Uber or Lyft or the gig company. You're hearing it from attorney Bryant Greening of Legal Rideshare. No, that's not going to happen. That's not how it works. And of course, the age-old comment here, my neighbor or friend or brother knows a lawyer, and they're going to be cheaper than you guys, so I'm just going to go with them. They're down the street.
Well, first of all, cheap is not is not something that we should be talking about, because we're free for all intents and purposes. It costs nothing to consult with me, and also we don't charge anything out of pocket. We are working entirely on a contingency basis, meaning if we're not successful for you, you don't owe us a dime. When we win for you, then we get paid from the settlement, and we are more than worth the contingency fee. I strongly believe that we bring more value to a case than what we take.
Perfect. So again, we said it earlier today, but just to confirm, if people are just tuning in now, just want to make sure. Bryant, are you an ambulance chaser?
No, we are not.
There it is. Not the nice graphic on screen, not an ambulance chaser. It's great to know. Before we wrap up again, if you just want to give a quick summary again about what we do, how we help, and also where you can find us, I think that would be really useful for drivers and gig workers.
Sure. So you can always reach us on our website, LegalRideshare.com, and you can email us at help@LegalRideshare.com. We are always available to connect with you. As I said at the beginning of our program here, we are a personal injury law firm that really specializes in gig-related accidents and injuries. So if you are a gig worker, Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, you name it, and you find yourself injured on the job, either through a car accident, a slip and fall, or any other means, we're going to help you put money in your pocket for your medical expenses, your lost wages, your pain and suffering, and any other damage that you sustain.
Which is fantastic. And, again, just to reiterate, LegalRideshare.com. Number is on the screen, 312-767-7950. Most of the time, you're going to talk to me or talk to Bryant directly. We are happy to always help and always be there. And Brian, I just want to thank you again for coming on and doing this fun little bit about, kind of what we do and how we handle situations. But I think it was very important, and we're going to keep doing it. I think the more we educate drivers and the more comfortable they feel talking to law firms, it's a win for everyone. That's how I see it.
I agree. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks, Jared.
All right, thank you guys, and see you next time.